Well, folks, welcome back in to No Cap Space. Andrew Hobner, Greer and Ganga here. And of course, we got some star power in the building ahead of the NCAA tournament. We've previewed the experts. We previewed with No Cap Space. We previewed with new fans of the game. And now we get to the players themselves, one of whom Florida State's Tanaya Latson. First of all, how excited are you? This is first NCAA tournament trip fully healthy. I mean, walk me through the feelings of seeing the name on the board Florida State and knowing I'm about to ball in this tournament.
Yeah, it was just super exciting. And I'm just thankful to be healthy. And I'm glad that my team is healthy. Most of my team, well, only one player that isn't healthy. She's been out the whole season, but I'm just glad we got a healthy squad going into the tournament. I'm ready to make some noise. And like I said, I'm just blessed because a lot of teams that I thought were going to make the NCAA tournament didn't make it. So I'm just, blessed.
So let's take it back to where you were this time last year. What did you learn in the tournament setting, having to kind of watch that and experience it in a very different way? I mean, did you take anything from that experience that you can now bring in as a fully healthy player into this current one?
Um, Nothing, but I'm just happy to just be there. I feel like ACC tournament, I felt great about it. This time around, like going into NCAA's, I feel really good about it. Just sitting back and watching that, I just wanted to be a part of it because I mean, it's fun. The upsets, the breakout games. It's an amazing feeling. So I'm just happy and like I said, blessed to be there.
What's been the message from your coach in leading up to preparing for your first round game?
Just do what we do. Be us. Continue to be us. Continue to get closer and better as a team every day. And like I said, we're fully healthy, so we're just we these past couple of days of preparing up into the tournament has just been adding tools to the toolbox and just sharpening up.
So going back to your recruitment to getting to Florida State, because I remember last year when you're playing your freshman season, every single week it feels like player of the week, player of the week, player of the week, player of the week, Tanaya Latson over and over and over again. When you were first getting recruited, what was Coach Brooks' pitch to you about Florida State? And I don't know if you saw it. There's a story about Charisma Osborne that just came out where Corey Close got her to UCLA by doing the "In My Feelings" dance by Drake, and I'm curious, did Coach Brooke pull out the hotline bling? Like, what did she do to get you here?
Coach Brick does not dance, but she's been the most consistent. She was the most consistent throughout my recruiting process. I talked a lot to Coach Brooke, and at the time, Coach Sue was the head coach here. And I love Coach Sue. I was, planning on playing for her, but ultimately, Coach Brooke did most of my recruiting, and I talked to her about anything from boys, basketball, my mom. Like, we just had that connection, and I felt like that was just the most natural I've ever felt with like a head coach. So I mean a coach, but at the time. So I feel like that's what really solidified it. And then just the culture here. The girls really loved me on my visit. I really enjoyed myself, and I felt like it was home.
Brooke is a FSU alum, so did that add to your decision to play there? And like, right, she hasn't really left, or she's back on the coaching staff. Did that add to it, like the true familial environment?
Yeah, for sure. And Coach Sue, like I said, she was the head coach at the time, and she really trusts Coach Brooks. She coached her, and that gave me a little bit more confidence too. So I felt good about it.
I've always heard among coaches that are alums, it's like nobody cares about the program the way you do because it's like your program and your baby. Do you kind of get that with Coach Brooke at all? That she's like, this is her thing and she will be damned if anybody does not perform to the standard?
Yeah, she's such a strong woman, especially with the stuff that she's going through off court. Her battling breast cancer and stuff like that. And it's just amazing to see her jerseys hanging the Raptors. Like you said, she considered like this is like her baby. Like she does not want to take no time off. She wants to get going. Um, And you can tell, you can feel it in practice, you can feel it in the games, when she speaks to people about the program. So yeah, it's just special to see.
What's it been like as a player kind of experiencing, that fight that she's having? I mean, how have you guys kind of coalesced around her and grown around her, wrapped your arms around her in
Mhm.
good moments, tough moments? Just walk me through what that experience is like as a player and as a protege of someone like that.
Right. She's such a strong woman, like I said, and even when she broke the news to us, she didn't cry. So it made me feel better that she was in good spirits about it. Just seeing her go through that, I feel like it gave us motivation to, play harder for her. Just to know that it's something like bigger than just us. And we know how much this program means to her, and how much she puts into it. So yeah, it means a lot. It means a lot to see her go through that and be so strong. And I feel like that's a reflection of the team.
Yeah. I want to switch gears a little bit because your username on Instagram, the first three letters, right? Certified Bucket Getter, CBG.
Mhm.
I want to ask you because you live up to it like tremendously in a tremendous way. To Andrew's point about all of the player of the weeks last year, what is your favorite part about your offensive game?
Mm, I would say my ability to get to the basket, get through a lot of defenses. I'm not really the most shifty player, but I can navigate through traffic. So I feel like that's one of my favorite parts of my game.
I've heard a lot of use the term baby flash with
Yeah.
you, talking about Dwayne Wade. When did you become aware that that was a nickname that one of the greats had for you? And have you ever talked to her just about that
Yeah.
nickname and comp to a player?
Yeah, I was just happy. My mom had recorded it and she sent it to me and she was like, "Oh my God, I love Ivory." I'm like, I love her too. I met her at the ACC tournament, like formally, like in a lobby, and she was just like, "Oh my God, your baby Flash." And I'm like, this is crazy because I grew up like watching her, and she's such a great person, on and off TV. So yeah, it just meant a lot hearing that from her.
For you, when it comes to the greats of the game, right? We're starting, it's interesting, at least in my experience, seeing this change where when I was first starting to cover the game about 10 years ago, you'd get a lot of players that would kind of comp themselves to men NBA players. Now it feels like it's different where we're getting a lot more college players that are comping themselves to WNBA players. And oh, I grew up watching this WNBA player, this one. Do you
Mhm.
feel that, right? Like, does it feel like we're kind of entering that era where all of you guys grew up watching the W and there's like a connection to it that maybe is a little bit deeper now that the league and its stars have kind of established themselves a bit?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, like I said before in another interview, the freshmen are coming in ready to play. Like, this is unheard of. Like freshmen usually have to ride the pine or earn, like really, really earn it.
You
And
did it. I mean, you earned it, but you didn't ride the pine.
yeah, I feel like, these freshmen have been coming in playing like they've been playing for like 5 years. And, you can tell like they really love it. And, basketball as a whole, like women's basketball is just growing, um, on the W side in college basketball. So, um, yeah, it's really special to see.
So, you're obviously going to be playing in the tournament. How much of the tournament do you think you're going to be watching?
Um, I mean, I'm gonna watch who we play next, or like I'm gonna watch,
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just focused on our game, really. Um, so yeah.
Did you
I'm
watch?
definitely gonna watch the Iowa LSU games, UCLA. That whole side is just stacked. So
Yes,
yeah.
I was about to ask. Like, walk. Can you tell us about the selection Sunday watch party? Because I've heard differing things, right? I've heard some teams did it with just their teams, some did a full thing, and then once their team got selected, everybody get out. I've heard other schools that did like the full bracket reveal with everyone in tow. So how did you guys do it? And were there any selections that you personally saw that were like, that's a matchup? That's an upset, maybe. Like, did you put the analyst cap on for a little bit?
A little bit. Well, we celebrated with the fans at the Tucker Center, where we play at, and we watched on the jumbotron. But our name was kind of called like last because we were in like the fourth region, I think. So
Mhm.
we had to stay into the whole thing, and yeah, that whole side with LSU, Iowa, UCLA is just crazy. Um, Louisville's in that too, right? I think.
The Haley
Yeah.
Van Lith
So
Bowl.
Yeah.
Haley's gonna, possibly see her old team. So that's yeah. I was just like, wow. A matchup that I was kind of like, like, ooh, that might be an upset. Virginia Tech and Marshall. That's gonna be a good game.
That's been our upset pick too. We've had
Yeah.
Yeah.
two people on that have said Marshall's that kind of team.
Yeah.
Among the teams you played this year, who would you say kind of gave you the most challenge, just personally? Who guarded you best, and who would you like to maybe see again, whether it be in this tournament or next season?
I would say Tennessee. They played me
Really?
pretty tight. Rakia played, and she's super long. I felt like a lot of teams tried to adjust that this year with like playing longer players on me, especially because we're kind of small. So just in Stanford, Kiki played defense on me. She gave me a little run for my money too. But definitely the Tennessee game with Rakia Jackson guarding me.
I'm so worried about them. Because that, like, Camilla hits the 3-point bank shot and you never expect it to go
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
Like,
that was crazy. But it's
So
South Carolina. Like you
yeah.
can't expect anything less.
Yeah,
it's
no.
true.
One of our colleagues, Richard, he's like friendly with Camilla, and so he's like super familiar with all of you guys when you guys played for FBC together.
Mhm.
So can you talk about like your relationship with Raven and Camilla and seeing them go, finish the season number one, be
Yeah.
undefeated. Camilla's an All-American. Um, yeah, can you just talk about your relationship with them and how cool it is to see girls that you came up with reach the
Yeah.
mountaintop of women's basketball?
When I first met Camilla, she didn't speak like good English, so it was kind of hard for her to talk to me a lot. But we spoke like some people tried to speak some Portuguese.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just amazing to see how far she's come. Because when FBC played Takeover against, it was just her and Angel in the post. That was a battle for her. She struggled in that game, and just to see her do what she did against LSU recently was just like, wow, she's really grown. Like she plays with a chip on her shoulder. She's so much more polished, and I'm just super proud of her. And Raven, that's my girl. We played in high school together. So it's just I'm just happy to see her winning and shining with South Carolina, especially after last year when she played Iowa. I felt like that was like really disrespectful, but she's been on a revenge tour for sure, and it's showing in her play. It's showing that she's more confident. So I'm just super proud of her.
I can't imagine rolling up. I'm like a high school kid. I'm probably not going to play college basketball anywhere. And on the court is Raven Johnson and Tania Latson, bro. Did you just come in with the energy to those games where it's like, oh, it's the two of us. Like, this is food
Yeah,
on the court.
I was never nervous in our team. Like Snoop, she played with us.
I feel
I
you
feel
though.
like we could have beat anybody in the country around that time, especially when we played Nike. When we played in the Nike Geico Nationals, it was like, nah, we finna win this. I had no doubt in my mind. Like, we had Snoop too. Snoop plays for FSU now too. So, yeah,
That's
it was
right.
Snoop, me, and Raven. So it was like a three-headed monster, and I felt confident every time, like every single time.
So who's giving who that work one on one? You or Raven?
Ooh, I feel like back then Raven would have gave me the work, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like I got it now.
There
She
we
gonna get mad if
yes.
I say that. But I
No,
feel
no,
like
I like that. I like that. We'll go find Raven and get her on and get her
Maybe
response
it's
when it
not
comes.
for nothing, right? Like it's not for nothing. So love it. So you guys are from like the North Georgia area, right? Like, I feel like there's been an explosion in talent in that part of the country when it comes to girls basketball recently. What's in the water? What's going on?
yeah, I heard Grayson's good now. That's crazy because Grayson was not good when we played them. I heard Grayson is good, so Cheers to them. Lovejoy was pretty good. That's more South Side, but Lovejoy is pretty good too. So yeah.
It's interesting to just see like that growth build out nationally too. And you talk about how the freshmen are coming in, like the Juju Watkins is and the Hannah Hidalgos and the Malaysia Fulwileys. You as a sophomore, I mean, does Tanaya Latson need to remind people who's that girl in Florida? Like,
Hey, when we played Notre Dame, bro, I was so locked in. I was like, nah, they ain't trying me. We lost in double overtime, but I was so locked in. Like, I scored 34 that game. I probably could have went for 40 if I ain't slowed down, but I was just like, they were like, T, are you good? I'm like, no, I'm good. I was locked in. I was not dancing. I was like, nah, I gotta remind folks, but we lost. So.
You were like the LeBron Game 6 Celtics meme where he's like head down, eyes up.
Yeah, no, I mean your conference, when you talk about guard play, like I struggle to think of another conference that has as many stars as you guys have at that position. So are you taking those matchups like personally? Or is it more about the team accomplishment? Because I could think of about 5 of you guys who are just definitely could have been in the running for All-American, Player of the Year, all of those things.
Yeah, that just shows how much the game has evolved. But I mean, I feel like it's a mixture of both, like the team accomplishment and like, playing with that chip on your shoulder. Especially, I don't know for anybody else, but for me too. I feel like this year I focused a lot more on, trying to get my teammates involved and doing other things besides just trying to score. Because, it takes more than one person. So just going into the game, trying to be myself while also expanding my game, passing the ball, shooting the ball more. So yeah.
Is there any player rivalries that you have? Like, is there anyone? And you don't have to go and at them. Like we don't need names if you want to avoid particular mess. But are there any players that you see that matchup and you're like, circle that, I want that?
Nah, honestly, like I feel like I'm not really a big trash talker, and people don't trash talk me either. So it's like I don't really have no like rivals. Like I feel like everybody respects my game. I mean, yeah, they play me pretty hard, but I feel like they respect my game, and it's nothing like, oh, I'm better than her. Like when we played Deasia Fair, like that's my dog off the court. Like I know her, so it was nothing like too personal. I know she's going to score 30. I know she's going to shoot the ball deep. Like so I in Georgia Amore, she's such an amazing person off the court too. So it's nothing never personal. So, but it's just like having that chip on your shoulder. I feel like whoever I go against is going to have that too. So yeah.
What was it like watching Deasia with her ascent up the scoring list? Because I feel like in January, we had a lot of discussions. I wrote about it a couple times that we have all of this energy for Caitlin, but there is a player here that's jumping past Brittany Griner on, the top 4, top 5 all-time scoring list. As someone that's a friend, I mean, did you guys talk about that lack of coverage, that lack of respect and where it was needed? Or was it more keep your head down, keep getting buckets type thing?
I definitely feel like, we never had a conversation about it, but I definitely feel like she deserves her flowers for sure. I feel like it's just like a lack of media coverage. Caitlin got all the media on her, so I feel like that's just part of the reason. But she's a hooper at the end of the day, and I don't think she really too much cares, but she definitely deserves her flowers.
So with the tournament about to get started, aforementioned Iowa player has her own reporter that is going to be on her the whole time. For you, as someone who plays it, watches it, ingests this stuff, like what is the type of coverage of the tournament that you think would be the most equitable? Like what are the stories that you think should be highlighted in March of this year? Besides you, obviously, that's what we're here for.
I feel like everybody's getting what they deserve except for probably Deasia Fair. She definitely deserves a lot more coverage than she gets. Like all the people that deserve it are getting it, except for probably me, but that's besides the point.
It's coming.
We told you.
Yeah.
But Deasia Fair, she definitely deserves that. That's a whole, like, and her coach is phenomenal. So, yeah.
Okay,
big
so
love for Coach Felicia.
yeah, games start tonight, right? The first four starts tonight. Can you think of, like, in your time watching women's college basketball, what's like the most memorable performance that you remember watching live?
Mm, NECA Gumake. Like, I felt like when I was a kid and I watched that, I was like, I had chills. It was crazy. And I didn't even know what college basketball really meant. Like, like getting there is different from, being a kid and just watching it. Like being there, it's crazy. But now that like I'm in college and I feel that, I feel like looking back at that is like, dang, like she was really going off. Like she was amazing. So I feel like that was my most memorable moment for sure. Just watching
Yeah.
that.
Well, we're gonna enjoy watching you this tournament for sure. This has been long awaited, long excited, and appreciate you coming on with us too in the middle of tournament week. I know it can get busy and things get a little crazy schedule wise, but we appreciate your time so much, Tanaya. And hey, good luck. This is gonna be fun.
Thank you. Appreciate it.